Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Dorbin number 32B by M4B. This is a system of two nested hooks. Well, you've got a hook here, the 32B, which is the frame portion, and then the door portion that resides right in there. Although this picture is, well, it's certainly very accurate how that's going to look. Now, this material is going to be used in weatherstripping, doors primarily. So a 32B itself, the larger of the two hooks, which is installed on the frame, this is also a typical item that you will see used in interlocking thresholds, where you have a piece of solid architectural bronze for the threshold. Okay, you're going to see the 32B nailed down to the bottom of the door, and that little giddy up that you see right there. This higher portion where the hook hangs down a little bit further allows for the head of the nails to not make, premature contact with anything down below, namely the threshold. Okay, so that's the 32B. Let's go over the dimensional properties of the 32B first. The Dorbin has the thickness at .0142, and it's certainly very close. The caliper says it's .017, .017 material thickness. Overall width of the 32B, .902. Overall height of the item, .242. .335 is the dimension from here to here. Then the rest of the dimension, .591 from here to here, .591. Now, the M4B, the dimensional properties, the thickness of the, I can't tell you what the material thickness is. Dorbin is saying that it's .016. I'm tempted to say it's a little bit thicker than that, .020 maybe, because other items that I've recently put a caliper on have been a little bit heavy compared to the published material. But the thickness of it, well, not really being able to account for the distance between the two pieces, but it's .035. So yeah, that .016 is going to be pretty accurate. The thickness .035, the overall width of the item, .754, and then the thickness down here at the bulb, where it's been hemmed over, .076. Now, looking at the drawing of how Dorbin has these installed, the 32B is going to go on the frame. It's just surface mounted. The backside here does not make flush contact with the frame because of that little hip that's in it. Okay, so it'll stand proud just ever so slightly. You're going to nail it down through that flange before the hip. Okay, you're going to hold it back, measured from the face of the stop, such that it is flush, pretty much flush, or maybe slightly inside the face of the door. I might be tempted to kick it in a 1/16 of an inch. From the face of the door, I would make the hook such that it was pulled back a 1/16 of an inch. Okay. Now, given that and the dimensions that you're dealing with here, you then have to make two routes in the edge of the door. One is a larger sort of preparation. It's going to look like that. Now, the one preparation, the larger preparation, is going to be there to accommodate the 32B, which is nailed to the jamb. Like that. Then the M4B, you can tell, that's going to sit right inside of there like that. Now this drawing here, this portion right at the tip of my finger, that all needs to be flush. The M4B needs to be flush to the edge of the door. Keep in mind that you are probably dealing with a beveled edge door as well. Take that into account when you're installing this material. You're going to need to account for tipping your router so that you are still routing it flush to create the proper sort of prep in the edge. Otherwise your depth will be off. Now, the question is, first question is how wide to make this accommodation and how far back? Well, that's easy. You've got the dimension from the face of the stop to the face of the door. Deduct that. However far this sticks in from the edge of the door, a very small amount, okay, from the plane of the door, it's showing that it's held in just ever so slightly, if at all. Then the length of the hook. So you could very likely be dealing with, and then the margin there as well. So 0.339 from here to here, you're going to leave a small margin, 30 thousandths maybe, on the other side. And then your margin from the stop, or from the edge of the door and whatever you hold it back in, maybe another 30 thousandths. So 0.39, 30 thousandths and 30 thousandths is going to be the depth of that sort of preparation. How deep? Well, that's easy as well. You're going to, from the edge of the door, deduct whatever your margin is between the jamb and the door, and then just the thickness of it, 0.265. I may have said something different earlier. It might be pinched over. You're going to need to measure the actual pieces that you have. So how far back you go over will be the thickness of this, 0.265 I just said, plus the margin between the jamb and the edge of the door. You're going to kick that over. Now, you're going to need to figure out the placement of where the M4B is, and that's going to be buried down into there. And let's assume that you might leave yourself a very small margin there, 10 thousandths of an inch or 20 thousandths of an inch. And then measuring the width of that, how much of it do you have to mortise back that small amount just for here? Okay? And that, at that point, you're going to have to determine your margin out here, the 0.265 I think it was, plus the small allowance you'll have here to the back of the hook, which I'm going to guesstimate to be, I'll tell you, a caliper is really a woodworker's best friend. Pardon me, best friend with this kind of work. About 0.450. 0.450 is the dimension from the face here to the back side of the M4B. Okay? 0.450, you're going to deduct how deep, well, that's going to be the dimension from where your 0.450 is how much longer the M4B is going to hang out that you've got to mortise the edge of the door. But from that, you're going to deduct that margin that you've left from the inside face of the 32B to the little to the mortise that's been done in the door. You're going to have to mortise this flush, and quite frankly, you might want to sink it in just a little bit deeper to account for the head of the screws. Okay? Take the head of the screw into account when you're doing all of this work as well, because it's a measurable amount. You want to make sure that you've got room for that as well. Okay? But the ultimate answer to how to machine wood doors for this material is based on the physical dimensions, is based on the margins that you're going to keep, and it's based on doing it the first time, building a mock-up if necessary, a small little sample piece, and then coming to the conclusion that you either have it perfect or you need to make adjustments. then recording those exact dimensions so that you don't have to go through all this work a second time. But the first time, you have to measure the pieces, take into account your circumstances of the door, a bevel, a thickness, a margin between the face of the stop and the face of the door, and make your calculations and then proceed accordingly. So now, moving on in this video for the for the 32B and for the M4B options, the question that you'll have to ask is, how many nails do you need to order? There is a requirement that when you add this to your cart, you select how many nails. Well, let me start by saying there are 65 nails in an ounce. Then let's say that Dorbin suggests that you put one nail every 1.5 inch. By pretty much all accounts, that's far too close. Let's say every 4 inch. You determine how many inches you have, lineal inches you have, divide that number by your center to center of your nails, and that will give you the total number of nails that you need. Dorbin sells the nails only in multiples of 1 ounce. Again, there's 65 nails in an ounce. Whatever number of nails you arrive at, divide that by 65, and that's how many ounces you need to order. Here's the point. If you were weather stripping a bunch of windows with this material, you might have, you know, let's just say 1,000 lineal, let's say you've got 100 lineal feet. 100 lineal feet divided by, multiplied by 12, you're going to have 1,200 inches. Let's say that you're going to put the nails every 4 inch, and it can be whatever your experience tells you to do. That means that you're going to need a total of 300 nails. You're going to divide that by 65. That means that you're going to end up needing a total of 4.6 or 5 ounces. Let's say you were going to order 20 pieces of this material so that it came up to 100 lineal feet. Let's say you're ordering 20 5-foot kits. Only 5 of the 20 lengths that you're going to order need to have nails. So you'll order 5 of them nails required, then 15 nails not required. Or you can order them all nails not required and then just click the link below here. Nails can be purchased separately by clicking the link that's there, and then just order the quantity that you need there as well. That's how you go about doing that. There's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up the full-line Dorbin catalog and review all things bronze, interlocking, weather stripping related. Not only bronze, but zinc as well. Not only for doors, but they do double-hung windows, which is a very common sort of material that you'll see, especially in older cities. Here in Chicago, there are countless wood double-hung installations. People will purchase the original sort of equipment because they need to continue to get useful service out of the window, and it's not time to purchase all new windows. So having access to the rib strips, to the sill and head sections, meeting style pieces is crucial because it will allow you to continue to get useful service out of the existing windows. Or you might be doing historical work, which is very common. You could be doing a college and there's adding on to the dorm building. Well, that dorm building was built in 1918 and it's full of bronze interlocking weather stripping on the windows primarily, but on the doors possibly as well. And you need to simply match the existing of what you have. And having access again to that material is crucial, and thankfully that, you know, quite frankly, thankfully Dorbin is one of a very small list of people that still offer it. So you can review that from the link to the product catalog there as well. But not only that, Dorbin is a provider of thresholds, door sweeps, perimeter gasketing, material made of aluminum, stainless steel, and architectural bronze as well. If you have any questions on the Dorbin 32B by M4B system of a nested weather stripping interlocking system with a J hook and then the nested hook, or any other Dorbin product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.